Good, great. So thank you very much to professors and everybody here for having me here for the talk today. It's my honor. Because of the time constraint, I'll have to jump a little bit. This talk is based on a co-authored paper between myself and Gareth Shaw, who cannot be here today. So I'm going to talk about UK media's coverage of China's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. How we do this project because we wanted to find out how the outbreak and its management in China was reported in the UK media. By doing that, we hope to decipher a sense of whether there are repeated patterns of representations which may lead the UK readers, the UK media publics, to form a preferred reading and interpretation of what was happening in China and how China was dealing with the outbreak. So it was not our job to find out whether the report was real or not real. We set up a few criteria in deciding what kind of media to study. We try to capture as much as possible, or to capture the representative media in the UK to do our investigations. So the first criteria was the political. We had 3 cases. So the first criteria was the political orientation. And as you can see, there is a spectrum, and on the left side is the left-leaning Guardian. And in the middle center, that is the BBC, which is known to provide impartial public service broadcasting in the UK. And then on the right side, it's the Daily Mirror, which is the right-leaning politically. We also take target reader into account. Traditionally, The Guardian is known as a national broadsheet, or it is also called a quality paper. It is generally associated with serious and intellectual subjects. So most of lecturers, people working in universities, they will read The Guardian. And the Daily Mail is known as a popular tabloid, targeting at a lower, middle, and upper working class demographic. So that paper usually contains less serious news items and regularly focus on more popular interest stories. So the third criteria is the popularity. I don't have the space or time to present you the specific figures or statistics, but we can claim that these 3 chosen media versions, we look at their online media versions, they are the most important from the point of view of public information dissemination in the UK. Next, I spent a couple of minutes on a little bit of time on the theoretical underpinning. We do draw on Van Dijk's news schemata, which regards headlines and leads as the most important feature of news discourse, because they define the situation. And more importantly, for this project, the reader, they provide the reader with a preferred reading and interpretation plan. So we see the link between the media public and also the media. So what are the headlines and the leads will decide how they would like the reader to read the news reports. The methods we therefore, following this, the methods we take up sentiment analysis. The first one is the data fall into 3 categories: the positive, which includes those reporting on China's success in containing the outbreak. And second is the negative, which consists of criticisms and accusations. The third one falls in between, the neither positive nor negative. For the thematic analysis, actually it's a complementary method. It not only provides a rich thematic description of our entire data set, but more importantly, they also help us to get a sense of what the reader is getting through the prominent themes we identify from the data set. So the time frame we have is from January this year to May, so 5 months. It's more because it's on China's handling rather than the outbreak around the world. So we think this 5 months cover from the outbreak to the containment of the first wave at least. So we quickly move to the analysis and findings. Sentiment analysis. This is the general, the whole picture, the whole period. We can, red represents, red means negative, green positive, and the gray area is the negative, negative 42%, positive 14%, and then 43 neutral. So that is the whole, put all these three sides together. But if we look at them in greater detail, the specific from week to week, first, if we look at this first one, from week to week, we will find that the initial first 5 weeks was a panic over the virus spread within and beyond China's borders, and China's failure to contain it. Then from week 5, the virus became seen as a real threat as it traveled outside China. Then during week 10 and 11, tempered praise was found to be the prominent tone for China, which means the positive tone at having gained control of the virus, along with suggestions that other countries should look to China as an example. And then from week 13 onwards, we can find that the widespread and dramatic increase of cases on a global scale, and as the world economy ground to a halt, praise for China was replaced with accusations for information delay, alternative theories on the origins of the virus, and China's responsibility for the global economic fallout. So that is the by weeks. And if we look at the 3 specific individual coverage, we can see some differences. BBC, which is sitting in the middle, appear to be the most balanced, while the Guardian sits in between. And the Daily Mail, the tabloid, goes to the extremes, and it's also the most sensational, with a lot of exclamation marks, capital letters. So this is what we find from this sentiment analysis. So on the whole, not much positive report, neutral report, and negative report about more or less the same. And then over the period of time, we also see the changes as the virus comes into the UK, because at first when it was reported, it was something in the distance, that is, but then gradually it became part of the UK daily life. So if we go to the thematic analysis quickly, the analysis of the themes provide a clear indication as to how themes in the representations of China increase and decrease in prominence. That means the overall story they are telling about the pandemic and its management in China. And that's what the public who consume these media have. So we identify 3 major main themes: criticisms and accusations, China's response, and praise for China's response. There are other themes, but they are not that frequent, and so we don't discuss today in today's talk. So under these main themes, we also identify sub-themes, so we group them together. Just to show one example, when we talk about criticism and accusations, we talk about the international community's criticism of China, and then also China's criticizing other countries. And then it also includes the deteriorating Sino-US relations, and then finally questioning China's truthfulness. So we find from these themes, in the analysis of these themes, we find the general patterns and specific patterns. General pattern, not surprisingly, there is no doubt that on a public health issue of a global scale, the UK media all try to achieve the primary goal of journalism by providing information on the virus. Although the select media of different types in the UK, as I've shown, the themes are not substantially different from each other. They all serve to inform and help the public keep abreast of the development of the virus. However, what is interesting is individually, BBC was found to present the news in a more neutral way, in a more dispassionate way, let's say. As we know, BBC is very often taken as to be the soft power source of the UK because of its dispassionate report on international affairs or domestic affairs. So it is found that it doesn't go to extremes. On the theme of criticism of China, for instance, it was found to be more controlled, while for praise of China's response, it remained silent. So that's the BBC. And when we go to the popular tabloid, the Daily Mail did not engage with overtly politically oriented news. It pays more attention to what was happening at the social level. So very detailed description of what was happening in the society. The Guardian is shown to have emphasized human rights issues in relation to the handling of the COVID-19 in China. And as I said, it was more read by intellectuals and people who are well better off, let's say. So that sector of the society is reading more on human rights issues.
Professor Zhang, could you
come quickly?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very quickly to conclude, what does this analysis tell us? The general pattern is there, so I'm not going to dwell on the general pattern. The different patterns observed is interesting that we should remember that the society or the media is not a one monolithic not monolithic. They do report differently, targeting to different audience. And so in a way, the better off, the well-educated people have access to the BBC and the Guardian. They have their reading, they have their interpretation guided by the media, while the other, Colin Sparks called the Daily Mail, the tabloid, actually the national norm. More people read the Daily Mail. So that has an implication for China's image among the UK's readers. I think I should stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Zhang, for this very timely analysis. And it'll be interesting to see how this media, tabloid and broadsheet or some other media report on the COVID-19 different from other reports.